Why am I always out of coffee?
Let's take a drunk shower. Let's take a drunk shower.
What?
Bruh, I need you to make something for me.
Dude, it's my day off.
Yeah, but it's for my kid.
Buddy, I don't give a about your motherfucking kid. Your mistakes are not my problem.
Yeah, whatever. Look, check your email. It's in there.
I've never even made one of those before.
Thanks, buddy.
Oh, you motherfucker. Morning. Looks like we're making a fucking ice cream cake. Alright, so to get started on this ice cream cake, we're going to be using some local ice cream I happen to have on hand here. We got some dark chocolate and some Oreo from Amy's Ice Cream, located right here in Austin, Texas. If you have a chance to go check them out, please do so. Please support local. We're going to first pull out the cookies and cream flavor, let it temper in this mixing bowl. We're going to let that sit for about 20 minutes because if we try to do it now, it's going to break our mixer. Ideally, we would want to let this sit for a little bit longer, just at room temp in the container, but it's my day off. I got to get going. So now that the ice cream is tempered, we're going to go ahead and mix it up on a medium speed. There we go, look at that. What child does not love gray ice cream? F it. So the pan we're using today, we have a springform pan, which means the bottom comes out from the sides, which should make this easier for removal once we finish building essentially our ice cream terrine. We're gonna line it with some plastic wrap here, just a nice even layer of plastic wrap going in. Then to make sure it doesn't stick, we're gonna just add some of this here pre-cut parchment paper. The pan we're using today is a 9.5 inch diameter by about 3 inches, so it should be a pretty decent sized ice cream cake for this little fucker. With this ice cream now ready, we're gonna just pour it into our staged springform pan. Using an offset palette knife, we'll just kind of ease it on into the sides, and then to get it as even as possible, we're gonna use an even smaller offset palette knife. This is gonna go back in the freezer for about an hour, hour and a half. All right, now we got some time to make our little cookie crumble here. We're gonna take about a full sleeve of these fuckers, call it 10 cookies. Just throw them in a bag. We're gonna burp the bag, meaning just leave a little bit of an opening for some air to come out. And we're just gonna bash the ever-living shit out of them. Give it a flip and a roll. We're then gonna cut in about 2 tablespoons of butter, work it in until it looks a little bit like potting soil. Essentially, we're just making a little bit of a streusel with these cookies. So we're gonna spread it evenly on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. We're gonna bake it for about 8 to 10 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. After about 10 minutes, we're gonna pull the crumble from the oven, let it cool. Once it's cool, we're gonna crush it back up into smaller little crunchy pieces. All right, so to make our fudge, we're first gonna pour our cream into our sauce pot. We have a half cup here. Just gonna let it get hot on the stove just till it starts to boil. Make sure you use a larger pot than you think you need because this always boils over and no one wants that on their day off. Once that's on the stove, we're gonna add our chocolate chips to this big mixing bowl. We're also gonna add our vanilla extract, light corn syrup. And here's a fun little trick, since this recipe contains fat in the cream and then also in the chocolate, if we just gently grease this spoon with a little bit of room temperature butter, that'll prevent the corn syrup from sticking as much to your measuring spoon. Now that our cream is hot, we're gonna pour it over our remaining ingredients. Just stir it up nice and gentle until everything comes out smooth. What we're gonna do is then just strain this through a fine mesh strainer for any lumps that may be behind. Okay, so now our first layer of ice cream is mostly set. We've taken our fudge sauce and put it in a little measuring cup here with a spout to kind of help pour it evenly. So we're just gonna pour it like so, start in the middle, kind of move our way to the edges Kind of give it a little twirl, swirl, even as possible. Then just using a spoon, we're gonna sprinkle the cookie crumbles on top of the fudge, place it back in the freezer. Then we're gonna take out our chocolate ice cream and let that start tempering. So now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing to our dark chocolate ice cream as we did to the Oreo. Just put it in the mixing bowl with the paddle attachment. Whip it up on about medium speed just to get it nice and loose. Take our cake out of the freezer, and again, just pour everything on top. Smooth it out as best you can with an offset spatula. Then we're gonna go back into the freezer for about another 2 hours. So for this ice cream cake to properly come out of this spring-form pan, I really need a cardboard circle. However, I don't have one. But what I do have is this frozen pizza that comes with a piece of cardboard. Unfortunately, this one is square, so I have to make it round. And there we go. Happy birthday, kid. So for this ice cream cake, we're actually gonna just use whipped cream for the frosting. So what I have here is a pint of heavy whipping cream, a teaspoon and a half of vanilla, and a cup of powdered sugar. I also have staged here 2 metal mixing bowls, one smaller than the other. The larger one is filled with crushed ice. This will help keep our whipped cream super cold while we whip it. So to start, we're just gonna dump everything into this bowl, stir it up a little bit just to combine, and then we'll just start cranking. I find it helps if you actually angle the whisk away from you rather than holding it straight up and down. You get better whisking action and faster volume accumulation. So what we're looking for while we're doing this is something called stiff peaks.
Giggity.
Yeah, there's no way this doesn't sound like what it sounds like. And yes, you can hold this over your head if you want. Also, it can be kind of fun when the smaller bowl starts turning into a little circus ride and doing its own thing. Now that it's ready, we're just gonna stage it into a separate container and also a piping bag fitted with a star tip. We'll use this to decorate after the initial frosting. And we'll put this back in the fridge, and we'll see you in about another hour and a half. Now that our cake is set for about 4 hours, we're gonna take it out of the freezer. We're gonna pop the collar of our springform pan, push the bottom up through the collar. Then we are going to start peeling off some of this parchment paper here very carefully. Once we get a good grip on it, we're gonna put our piece of cake cardboard on top. We're gonna put it on top, give it the flip, remove the springform bottom, finish removing any parchment that remains. We're gonna set it on our little cake pedestal, pop it back in the freezer while we get our whipped cream ready for frosting. Alrighty. That looks good, especially for a first try. Alright, now we're gonna add what's called a crumb layer of frosting, where we're just gonna kind of zhuzh up and patch up anything here so the other layers of frosting look like a pretty princess. Yeah.
Right. Remember, sprinkle and
Yes, sprinkles and happy birthday icing. I got it. Okay. We're just gonna work this down. We're gonna spin our little base here. If you have a cake spinning pedestal, that works even easier than this, but I do not right now. One last quick little clean and we'll get this right back in the freezer. All right, with our cake refrozen, we're gonna actually put a nice layer of our whipped cream frosting here. So we'll take our offset spatula, load up the top of the cake. We wanna try and work from the top down to the sides. We're then gonna take a long straight edge spatula and try and smooth out the top. We're gonna take a little bench scraper, which has another straight edge on it. Just kind of work it around. For a little textural variety, we could use a pastry comb, or what we're gonna use is this big ass serrated knife, kind of get the same effect. We're just gonna scrape off some kind of corrugated layers of frosting. Then we're gonna add our goddamn sprinkles. I fucking hate sprinkles. Alright, look at that. Happy birthday, good enough. And now we're gonna pipe with our remaining whipped cream frosting. So I have attached here a star tip. Next, we'll refreeze it again. And we're gonna apply the happy birthday icing. Yeah, it's me. No, yeah, your ice cream birthday cake is done. Yeah, okay, yeah. Bon appetit, face.